A freezing morning. Snowflakes drifted like tiny knives in the wind. At the bus stop stood a small boy leaning on wooden crutches, his breath puffing into the icy air. A school bus roared down the street. For a moment, hope flickered in his eyes. But the driver glanced, frowned, and kept going. The doors slammed shut before him. Adults walked by, pretending not to see. Children snickered behind his back. The boy tightened his grip on the crutches, whispering through chattering teeth, "I guess I'll miss school again today." And just then, engines thundered like rolling storm clouds. A line of motorcycles appeared on the horizon, leather jackets gleaming with iron emblems. The leader braked hard, snow spraying from his tires. He removed his helmet, leaned down to the boy and asked, "You trying to get to school, kid? Let me take you." But why would a stranger, especially a biker, arrive at this exact moment? And why did his eyes seem so strangely familiar? The story unfolded in a small Midwestern town. Wooden houses stood close together, porches lined with old rocking chairs, neighbors knowing one another's business but rarely stepping in. The boy's name was Ethan Carter, 12 years old. His legs had been weak since birth, forcing him to move with crutches. His parents were divorced. His mother worked 2 jobs just to keep them afloat, leaving home before dawn. Ethan had no choice but to find his own way to school. The school was over 2 miles away. The bus passed his street every morning, but for Ethan, it never stopped. Some drivers muttered about slowing down the route. Others simply looked the other way. Children from the neighborhood had grown used to the sight. Some mocked him openly. "If you can't walk right, stay home." On Ethan's desk at home sat a single framed photograph. A smiling man in a leather jacket, helmet under one arm, standing beside a Harley. Scribbled beneath, "Uncle Jack." But Ethan's mother never talked about this man. Who was Jack really? And why did Ethan cling to that picture as if it hid a secret? That morning, once again, Ethan waited at the stop. Snow piled around his boots. The bus slowed. Hope lifted in his chest. Then the driver cracked open the window and barked. "No attendant, no ride. Rules." The doors stayed shut. The bus roared away. Ethan's shoulders sagged. An elderly woman walking past shook her head. In her eyes flickered a silent question. Was this really about the rules? Or was the boy being pushed aside on purpose? Day after day, Ethan stood in the cold. Bus after bus passed by. Kids on the block started circling him, throwing snowballs, laughing, filming on their phones. And then, someone new. A tall man, sitting astride an old Harley parked near the stop. Neighbors whispered, "Biker, watch out, dangerous type." But the man never caused trouble. Each time he passed, he gave Ethan a small nod, eyes steady, almost protective. The old woman from before muttered to herself, "I thought this was just about a bus. Maybe it's more than that." One bitter morning, the snow was slick. Ethan slipped, crutches flying, his small body crashing into the slush. Kids laughed louder, pointing their phones. A bus sped past, spraying dirty snow over his clothes. Not one person moved to help. Ethan lay still, humiliated. A thought screamed inside. Has the whole town abandoned me? Then the ground shook. The Harley thundered closer. The bikers swung off, boots crunching snow. Without hesitation, he lifted Ethan into his arms, gentle as if carrying a fragile bird. "You want to get to school, son?" he asked. Ethan's voice cracked. "Yes." Tears mingled with melting snow on his cheeks. The biker introduced himself. "Name's Jack Miller, member of Ironhearts." Ironhearts wasn't a gang, it was a brotherhood of bikers who volunteered to help kids, seniors, and anyone left behind. From his saddlebag, Jack pulled out a small helmet with a flame decal. "Special gear for a special rider." Ethan stared, wide-eyed. Why would this stranger care so much? And why did the name Jack tug at something deep in his memory? On the road to school, Jack raised his voice over the roar of the engine. "Years ago, I had a best friend. Brave man. He saved my life once." Ethan clutched the handlebars tighter. Jack continued, eyes misting. "That man was your father." Ethan's world spun. The photo on his desk wasn't Uncle Jack. It was his dad, side by side with Jack, long before tragedy. Jack's voice cracked. "Your father died when you were little. He pulled me out of a wreck, gave me another chance. Before he passed, I swore I'd look after his family, but I lost track of you. Until now." When they rolled up to the school gates, Ethan expected stares. What he didn't expect was a wall of engines rumbling in unison. Dozens of bikers lined both sides of the street. Their jackets read Ironhearts. In their hands was a banner stretched wide. "No child left behind." Gasps erupted. Teachers gaped. Children stopped laughing. Jack dismounted, carried Ethan through the gate. "This boy deserves his place here," he said firmly. "No excuses." The principal stammered, ashamed. I didn't realize." Jack cut him off. "You did realize, you just looked away. Not anymore." And the final secret spilled. Ethan's mother had once written to Ironhearts, begging for help. She never knew Jack himself would be the one to answer. From that day on, mornings changed. Ethan never stood alone again. The Ironhearts bikers rotated shifts, riding him to school, engines roaring like an anthem of protection. Kids who once mocked him now stepped aside, some even offering to carry his bag. The laughter turned into respect. Ethan, still leaning on crutches, walked taller, his chest proud. The town learned a lesson. Bikers weren't just rough leather and loud pipes. Sometimes, they were ordinary people choosing extraordinary kindness. The moral? Never judge too quickly. Compassion can roar louder than prejudice. A biker convoy can change a boy's life, just by showing up when no one else would. Ethan looked at Jack one morning, whispering, "Thank you. Dad would be proud." Jack swallowed hard, starting the engine. "He already is, kid. He already is." Engines roared, snow sparkled in the rising sun, and for the first time, Ethan felt unstoppable. The story ends here. If you found it touching, please like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to Biker Life Stories for more tales of biker kindness. Thank you, and see you next time.